Of the updates that have been made to the system, and hopefully with a couple of examples show you the utility of this. So the idea is that what you can now do is import listings. So I've got a list here which is in the form of a spreadsheet called test data, and I'm going to import just the notes here. I'm going to put in the ID number into the notes, and I'm going to put in the company name, and you just basically drag and drop and then tick, and it keeps the record. And you'll notice that if you move, once you've ticked it, it keeps it in place. Okay, so when I import that data, I've basically extracted from the spreadsheet, which looks a bit like this, just that column and that column. And what I'm trying to do is populate this column here for company number. So I'll just show you how I would do this. Basically, there's now a lookup function which automatically looks up the data in this column, the company name, and matches it against company's house by creating an alpha key to the extent that it can. And this test file, it's a rather unrealistic amount of 97% is already matching. But for the odd one that doesn't match, you see that there's a blank here. You can double click and it will search and find the text, and there's maybe reasons because there's similarly named companies or so on. So you get the chance of upping the hit rate by selecting the company you want, and it populates the company number field. Now for this project, what I would do is email myself back that listing. So here is one I prepared earlier, as they say, and there is the data that's come back to me. Now, given that I've got the notes ID number in the same order as the ID number here, what I can do now is simply copy and paste this data from here into here. And I've now matched the data in my spreadsheet to company's house. So other things you can do, if I do the same import from the spreadsheet and import just this time the company name, so there's the company name, and match that up, import that data, do the lookup, and I'll increase it by doing that as well. I can now save this into the CRM. So I'm going to create a new project, or I can add it to the listing that I've just imported into an existing project. But I'm going to create a new project, which I'm going to call test import. And when I save that, I find that this has gone blue because that's where the data has gone to. And you'll see that in the CRM, I now have a new project called test import, and there's my 79 contacts and so on. So that data can now be used to create reports. So this is a new thing. I've now got the option to pick from the existing reports, the SIC reports, the reports I've created myself, or projects, and I can start using those companies, the ones that were matching company's house at least, in my new report. So let's call this test report. So there's a 78 that actually, so there were 79 companies, one of them didn't match, so it only gives me the limited companies as a match here. So I can now apply, screening criteria against those. So I could just take of those 78 companies, how many are in Scotland? Well, there's just the 6 there. The other new thing, and I can basically then, in the normal way, create a report and save it, so I can get the full financials out in a spreadsheet, or I can get the PDF version of the report and so on. The other thing I can do that is new is if I do a search here for a company or a series of companies, I can take all those 5 companies that begin with Shell Chemical, and I can add those companies into my report. And what it does is, because I've added them from the Find a Firm, it means that those companies are always there. So you can see that this number has increased by the 5 that I've just added, and this number has significantly increased because those 5 are always going to be in my report. So they're the 5 shell companies there. So in other words, the Find a Firm selections are always in the listing, and then I apply criteria against any other companies that I want from other sources. So companies that I find from existing reports or keyword searches and so on. If you wanted to apply the criteria that you have against firms that you've found deliberately through Find a Firm, then you can do that because you can display them in the list view. You can save them into a project here, and then you can use that project list, and the criteria would apply against the project list in the way that I showed before. Okay, well, hopefully that's useful stuff and makes it reasonably clear how you might use it.